What's up, guys? On IO Garage today, we are going to... What was I gonna do today? So, notes for what I got.
In the next video, this front bar has to go. Gotta cut it off, tube it, weld in some plates so that way I can mount the front tension rods. I gotta finish cutting all of that out and make sure I reinforce this before I start cutting out the rest. Then I gotta cut out all of that, excuse the mess. I gotta cut out all of that, leading all the way to where the rear end is gonna sit. Then I gotta figure out this big ass hole that I left back here, how I'm gonna fill it, how the coilovers are gonna sit. Like I said, this is gonna be a stressful, fun, I don't know, project.
Oh, that stuff. Ooh. So today I want to knock out a few things that I needed to weld into place that I have not done, and I need to get them done like as soon as possible so then that way I can move on to the next thing. So as of right now, I have my square tubing all cut up and I'm kind of ready to weld it up. So let's see how that goes. So it's still hot as hell, but I tacked together this little piece that I'm planning on using as basically the frame for the new trans tunnel to replace that center beam, which I have to cut right at the center. What is actually funny is that the drive shaft would ride right on top of it, so I don't even have to cut it, but that's some ghetto shit. But I am going to basically just put in a piece of straight tubing all the way through there, weld it in. I'm gonna use it as part of the drive shaft loop. So I'm planning on having 2 of them in this thing. Not like it's ever gonna make enough power to actually rip through a drive shaft, but I am gonna run an aluminum drive shaft, so it's gonna be interesting. So now time to mock it up. Man, it's actually right above. You can actually see it right above that center beam. I don't know. This might sound crazy, but what does an inboard drive shaft sound like? You know? Yeah? No? Okay. But anyways, now I'm upset at myself. I just wasted the last of my square tubing that I had left, and I could have used that to basically just make that center beam go straight through, and I would have cleared the drive shaft. I could have cut right along and kept going with what it is I need to do. So let me see if I could cut it, throw in some plates, and maybe put a piece of round tubing to hold it in, or let me see if I can find some square stock somewhere. So for now, time to figure out that center beam. Wow. So I managed to salvage some of the old square stock. Now I have 2 ratchet straps on the inside of the car applying tension. So I have them applying tension. That way when I cut that center brace, if there's a possibility of the car shifting, it'll at least hold it in place. I was trying to triangulate these and have it in an X, but the X falls right where I gotta cut it, so it's right in the way. So after I get a good section of this cut out, I'm gonna throw that in between. It's gonna meet up between these two. It's gonna meet up right in between these 2 beams. It's gonna seal it up. Then from there, I'm gonna get some round tubing, make a nice little arch. Since I haven't gotten a chance to use my tube bender yet, weld that arch in, and that's gonna basically act as the trans tunnel support. I'm gonna try to use the Sawzall for this because the grinder is a bit messy and the carpet's still inside the car. There's gonna be a lot of sparks flying around. I don't wanna risk anything. I should rip the carpet out, but I'm lazy as shit. So we're gonna do it this way. One big rule, boys, always have your PPE. Even if it's something as simple as some 99-cent store glasses, you always wanna protect your eyes. You don't want some shit flying in there. I've had that happen to me. I've had stuff hit my face. I have a little permanent scar somewhere from a piece of cutoff wheel flying towards me, and since I didn't have a face shield, it basically just nicked the side of my cheek. I've also lost a fingertip, and I've seen plenty of my coworkers, since I am a mechanic, get injured or even let go of their jobs for something that a simple piece of PPE could have covered. So always double check your PPE before you do anything crazy like cutting, welding, grinding, anything that's gonna make sparks or have shrapnel flying around. But anyways, let's go. So what you guys didn't see after the camera fell, I basically cut that little center beam off. It looks a bit messy right now, but let me show you guys what I'm about to do. So here I have 2 plates and a piece of 1.25" Dom that's gonna basically go right in between to replace the 2 beams. The sheet metal that was originally there was thin, but it was stamped, and it was also spot welded to the body. So the rigidity on it was pretty good. Honestly, I feel like this is gonna be as strong as OE. Plus, I'm gonna eventually reinforce the whole entire car with a cage, so this is just one part of the puzzle, and it's also to help the car keep its shape, so I'm not really too worried about it. Plus, it's not even the full transmission tunnel. Anyways, let's get to welding. So I have the piece somewhat finished up. It's basically just tacked into place right now. Let's see if this will actually fit. Seems to be nice and snug. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the welding on it. And then I'm gonna tack weld it into the chassis, cut the rest of the tunnel out, and keep going, because I have one more brace right here in the back that I gotta worry about. All right, so I finally got it welded in place, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty strong on there. That doesn't really show you much, but also another issue that I'm starting to realize is the floor in the back where the seats used to go in is actually so low that in order for me to have 4-link, I'm gonna have to cut it and basically make a new floor. The rear seats themselves are almost like a bench in a pickup truck, so they're elevated about 4 inches before it gets to any actual seat. I'm planning on throwing 2 buckets in the back sometime in the future, but for right now, I'm not really too concerned about back seats. I have to cut out so much just to get the links to fit in, which at this point, running parallel 4 links with the smaller upper links would have probably been a little bit easier to get away with. So for now, it's time to cut this floor, cut the rest of this tunnel out. I'm gonna leave that center brace. Time to put that Sawzall to work. Let's go. All right, so I had to do it off camera just because setting up the camera just takes way too long, and also the car was gonna shake like a motherfucker, and I didn't want the camera to fog. But I got the trans tunnel fully cut out, and I am actually considering leaving this center beam in the back, except I'm gonna cut it, and I'm thinking of putting a 3-inch piece of round tubing cut in half, just so in that way it has something to spin around, if that makes sense. Before I get too much into the trans tunnel though, I gotta figure out what exactly I'm gonna do about those rear links. That floor is in the way, and I have to finish getting that rear end prepped, so in that way I can determine the angle of the linkage. So for right now, I'm kind of at a standstill with this. I'm gonna go tomorrow to West Steel and pick up some thin gauge steel and start forming my trans tunnel and at least get an idea of it. Since I am gonna roll cage the car, I might as well do it right now while everything's taken out. Once I get rid of all that sound deadening, I can go ahead and determine where exactly I'm gonna put my plating so that way I can start building my main hoop, which is awesome. About a year back, I went and got myself this affordable bender with an 1.25" die. But wait, there's more. I have 1 3/4, 1.5. I got all of them. If anybody knows where I can get my hands on a spark plug valley cover, I will absolutely love you forever. The only one that I know of right now is from SS Auto Power, and it's basically just a piece of raw steel that's been dimple dyed and bent. I'm not really trying to pay $100 for something that I can make myself. I'm trying to find like an actual nice A86 one that I would like to have a nice OE clean piece. Hopefully next week I can get my hands back on my cherry picker so that way I can pull the engine out and I can finish up that engine bay. I really want to finish plating up where the cross member is going to go, but until I pull that engine out, I can't really do it. So I guess it's time to tackle one of the other things that's on my list, and that is to get rid of the radiator support beam. I do not need it. It is garbage. If you want it, let me know. I will ship it for free. I'm basically going to do the exact same thing I did with the inside center brace, where I'm just going to cut it, plate it off, and then throw a piece of round stock in the center. So let me get these old tension rod brackets out of the way, measure it up, mark it up, get that Sawzall ready, and we'll get to cutting. All right, so I got that front beam cut off. I went ahead and got 2 plates ready, cleaned them up. I was gonna weld them in right now, but it's getting kind of late. I gotta go back inside the house. So this is something I'm gonna have to finish up tomorrow. I'm gonna call it a night for now. Let's see what we have in store for tomorrow. So I got an early start this morning, and I was able to actually just go ahead and plate and weld it up. still got some figuring out to do with my welder. I don't know why it's acting up the way it is. I have a gut feeling it might have something to do with my ground cable, because looking at the actual ground pins, they look like they're messed up. Looking at it on the inside, on that copper strand that ties both jaws together, it looks like it's pretty corroded and it's barely holding on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not the type of person to blame the equipment. My usual work looks something a little bit more like this. But lately my welder's just been, I guess I want to call it stuttering. It almost feels like it's surging in voltage. I don't know if maybe the inverter might be going out too. I hope it isn't. I've only had this thing for about 3 years. Luckily Eastwood has a lifetime warranty, so I'm gonna have to email them, see what's going on, see what they could tell me and what I could do to fix it. Hopefully I'll just be able to give them a phone call or an email and we'll be able to resolve this. So right now I'm going to measure out the tension rod brackets, see exactly where they're gonna land. Probably head over to West Steel and Plastics, pick up some angle iron. If not, try to see if I have something I could bend out over here. But yeah, let's keep it going for now. So I managed to figure out how I'm gonna exactly mount the tension rod bracket onto that piece of tube that I welded onto the front. So basically I just got a piece of angle iron, cut it at a slant, and matched it up exactly where I'm gonna want that tension rod bracket to mount up to. I was gonna do the other side, but it's getting late. I wanna go back inside the house. I'm tired, I wanna take a shower. For now, it feels like I actually made a bit of progress on the Tercel. Not exactly what I wanted to, but more than what I've done in a while. So overall, I think these few days have been a success. I have an appointment on Monday to go get a drive shaft made, but I didn't make as much progress as I wanted to, so I might have to push that back a few days until I get that rear end in. So overall, it's not one of my best videos, but I still want to push out as much content, especially of what I'm doing to you guys, so make sure to stay tuned for the next episode, but we will hit 2-step on this thing before the end of the year. I swear to God we will. But anyways, thanks again for watching. This is IO Garage. Hope you guys have a good one.